As we know, the month of March, it can symbolize change, especially, this month, right? That's ringing especially true. A branch of the National Weather Service known as the Storm Prediction Center, or SPC, they announced major changes to the way they issue outlooks for severe weather. In fact, we've been talking about it a lot, especially this week. They announced it on X, saying that starting on March 3rd, that's today, you'll notice some changes to SPC's severe weather outlooks. Now, if you're wondering what's changing, here it is. We all know those usual 5 outlooks. Here at Fox Weather, we number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With the SPC, they give them a word. Marginal is level 1, slight, level 2, enhanced, level 3, moderate, level 4, and a high severe weather day is a level 5. The SPC says those will stay the same. No changes expected, but here's what's different. They're going to start assigning levels or groups to the severe weather mode, whether that be large hail, damaging winds, or tornadoes. In this case, we're going to highlight tornadoes. Simply put, the higher the level, the more intense those storms could be. Those are the changes. You see how we've added levels. These changes are being implemented with 20 years of data gathered by the SPC.
The big question is, how will this impact forecasters and how they share severe weather updates in the coming years? So joining us live, we're lucky to have Bill Bunting, Deputy Director for the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center. Bill, I'm sure it's a busy day for you guys out in the office. Break it down for us, though. What led to this initial decision to make these changes to highlight the storm intensity for your outlooks? Were these changes driven more by verification data that you've collected over recent years, or more so by how users were responding to the old intensity levels?
First of all, thank you for having me on. It's great to talk about these changes that we're excited about here at the SPC. We've been doing our current method of forecasting for going on 20 years now. And while it has been effective, there were a couple of limitations. Number one, we couldn't really express our confidence in the highest caliber of tornadoes. All we could say was that some of them would be strong. Secondly, if the likelihood of a severe storm was low, but the impacts if one formed was high, it was challenging to convey that information. So with the changes today, our forecasters will be able to convey more of what they're thinking in terms of how bad a day could this likely be. And then more importantly, or at least just as importantly, in those low probability days, we can convey some of that, whereas in the past we had to be subtle and nuance it with the text. So much more explicit communication, we think much more beneficial for decision makers, citizens who just want to know what's in store for them, and also for you as part of the warning communications team getting the word out. So we're excited about today.
It is one of those things that I think as we've watched how the forecasts have evolved, Bill, the Storm Prediction Center you go through a verification process, much like the National Hurricane Center, right? And you look at how things performed. And those days that are more violent, we have seen higher end modes achieved. And I think being able to speak to those from a forecasting perspective is important. There has been some chatter online, and I'm sure it's been unavoidable even for you, saying that adding more levels might be a bit more confusing. I think when you look at it from your approach as a forecaster, though, you've been doing this for several years already, and you've seen the need for an added level. Is that why it's been implemented?
Yes, and that's a great point, by the way. We've been testing this internally for 5 years, parts of it even longer. And so we've given a lot of thought to this. We've coordinated with other scientists, social scientists as well. And it really helps us to achieve our goal, which is communicate as much information as we know here at the SPC about the potential on a given day. In the past, we've had the ability to largely do that, but with the limitations that I mentioned a few minutes ago, today's changes enable us to convey much more information about those days that have the highest and the strongest tornado potential, and also for strong winds and large hail. Remember, 85% of all tornado deaths are with EF3 and greater. So the more we can do to convey the potential for those stronger, even violent tornadoes, we think the more effective our forecast can be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, each and every year, our methodology for forecasting gets stronger and stronger. So it's only right to be able to convey what we know and what we're confident in, especially in these high caliber events. But it's not just the SPC. We've seen in recent years, a hot topic in the weather community last year was the NHC's choice to change their hurricane cone graphics, highlighting watches and warnings a bit further inland. So is this all part of just the broader evolution of the government environmental weather space and how you guys communicate weather risk? And do you expect to see more changes in the coming years as our forecast ability grows?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm going on my 41st year in the National Weather Service, so I've seen a lot of change. And those changes are driven by improvements in our scientific understanding. They're driven by modeling improvements. And they're also driven by a better understanding of how people use our information. And we take all of that data, all of those pieces of information, and use those to help dictate the pace of change and the nature of the change. And so for us today, this is just part of that evolution. We have a long history of doing that. And we're going to continue working with the community and working with others involved in communicating severe storm risk information.
And when it comes to these tools, there's also been talk of who should be using them. After all, the Storm Prediction Center, it's publicly available, the website there. And from a tool for forecasters and local National Weather Service offices, this is very helpful. But for someone at home who's watching, Bill, what's been the easiest way to convey how these changes will serve them? Tried to simply put it before we introduced you, saying the higher the level, the greater the threat. And that's essentially it. In ways that had already happened and was already beginning to occur at the SPC. We've just added a layer.
Yeah, I think for many people, just looking at the categorical outlook will be sufficient, and know that today is a day with some threat and then progressively higher as the categories increase. If you're interested in learning as much as possible about which threats are most likely in my area and how bad could it get, then I think using the conditional intensity information will be valuable. Will there be a learning curve? There will be. We've done our best to make it straightforward, do a lot of training and a lot of outreach, and that will continue. But we've seen some degree of concern with every change that we've made in the past. Not everyone embraces it right away, and today likely there will be folks that will need to see how this goes. Fortunately, there's going to be a number of days in the near future for us to have the opportunity to forecast severe weather, and so we're glad to answer questions and go down this journey with folks together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, change is a hard thing sometimes. Everybody's learned that lesson a few times, but hopefully everybody's willing to embrace this new methodology of the SPC. But you did mention that in recent upcoming days, you could be implementing some of this. What is your expectation? Maybe what's the first day that you think these new SIGs could be issued? Looking ahead, maybe Friday or potentially midweek coming up. What's your take on this setup so far?
Yeah, we have several interesting days. You're exactly right. I think in the short term, moisture will be a bit lacking. Instability will be sufficient, but not as great as perhaps we might see, say, early next week, next Tuesday in particular. But the shear will be strong. And this time of the year, strong shear can sometimes compensate for marginal instability. So I don't want to downplay the threat any day this week. Certainly Friday is our biggest concern given the widespread nature of the threat and the potential for higher end storms, including supercells. But if there's any threat of severe weather in a particular area, folks in that area need to take it seriously and pay close attention.
I do think it's important, too, to note with these changes that there may be days where we see more categorical outlooks. The ability to be able to issue those could be very helpful because, as to your point, some days we don't have a very large zone that's under threat, but that ceiling is so stinking high because of the dynamics, and that's going to enable the Storm Prediction Center to issue those outlooks as the work continues. And you knew you wouldn't be leaving us without us asking about this week's setup, so thank you for offering that insight. Bill Bunting, Deputy Director for the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center, appreciate your time this morning, and good luck with the changes.
Yeah, thank you both.
All right.